If you love skirts and dresses, there's no reason to stop wearing them in winter. In this video, I'll show you how to stay feminine and warm without compromising your look. Hi, my name is Alina. I'm a trained dressmaker and elegant fashion enthusiast, and I don't wear trousers. I've always felt most confident in skirts and dresses. They just suit me so much better than trousers ever did. So at some point, I simply stopped wearing them altogether, and since then, skirts and dresses have become my daily uniform, no matter the season. Over the years, I figured out how to stay warm, feminine, and comfortable in skirts and dresses, even during the coldest months. And today, I'm sharing exactly how I do it. We'll talk about layering, fabrics, footwear, and those subtle styling choices that keep your outfits feminine and winterproof. So if you want to embrace a feminine wardrobe all season long, or you simply want to get more wear out of the skirts and dresses you already own, this video is for you. Okay, so point number one is go for midi and maxi skirts and dresses. This is pretty much self-explanatory, but if you wear longer skirts and dresses, they will cover up your legs more than if you were to wear a mini skirt, and that will provide you with some extra warmth. I would also advise you to pair your dress or skirt with a pair of tights or thermal underwear or leggings just to keep extra warm and snuggly. This will allow you to wear your favorite skirts and dresses without freezing in the colder months. If you don't like the look of just simple opaque black tights, I totally get that. I do like wearing them, but some people just don't like it. You could either go for a different color, for example, maybe a brown. I love wearing dark brown tights, or you could also go maybe for a navy or a dark green or red if it fits your outfit. Or you could have fun with textured, maybe go for a pair of rib tights, or I believe there are also kind of knitted tights that could also look really cute, or maybe just a patterned one with stripes or checks or something like that. I think there are quite a few versions out there. Or you could go for a pair of nude thermal tights that kind of looks like you are just wearing a very thin pair of tights and your bare legs are shining through. I think these were really popular a few years ago, maybe last year or the year before on social media, so you can check that out if you want to, but that would be another option if you don't like wearing opaque tights but you still want to keep warm. My next point would be styling dresses with cozy cardigans or jumpers over the top. This will add some extra warmth, but what's also nice is if you wear a jumper over a dress, it kind of transforms your dress into a skirt. So you just have a lot more outfit combinations to play around with, and it adds variety to your wardrobe, and I think that's really nice. When layering in winter, a belt is going to be your best friend because you can just add some shape back into your looks. You could try belting your cardigans, your jumpers, you could even belt a coat, or what I also really like is belting a scarf. So basically you just take a nice woolen thick scarf and you put it around your neck and then you belt it in the middle, and that just adds a little something to your outfit, just a little bit of interest, and I really like the look. You could also wear your dresses with a crop jumper, that way you wouldn't need a belt, and it kind of has the same effect. It just creates this beautiful hourglass silhouette. Point number 3 on how you could keep yourself warm in the winter is add a woolen blazer. A blazer is a great way to add an extra layer to your outfit. Go for a tailored one over an oversized one because an oversized blazer can very quickly look quite bulky. If you want to, you could also belt the blazer. That would also be an option, and that way you could get this tailored hourglass silhouette again if you want to. I mean, it really depends on your taste, but I personally think it looks really elegant to have a tailored blazer, to have your waist showing. But if you don't like that, you don't have to do it. A blazer made from wool is probably the best option to keep nice and toasty because wool is just a warming material, and it also adds a touch of elegance to your look. If you're wearing a blazer with your dresses and skirts, you will probably need a more loose-fitting coat that you can wear over the top because a blazer can add some bulk in the shoulder area. So get yourself a coat that is a bit more loose-fitting around your shoulders and your upper body so you won't feel constricted when you're wearing your blazer underneath. Talking about outerwear, a long coat or a woolen trench coat work perfectly with longer skirts and dresses. The coat will not only add much needed warmth to your outfit, but also a touch of elegance. Quick tip, I would go for a coat that's longer than your skirts and dresses. I just think it balances out the proportions very nicely, so I would try to always go for a coat that's longer than what I'm wearing underneath. The next point is wear knee-high or over-the-knee boots. For winter, knee-high or over-the-knee boots are just great. They not only keep your legs covered and protected from the cold weather, but they also look really stylish with skirts and dresses. If you can, go for real leather boots. I know they are more expensive, but they will feel softer, they will mold to your foot, and they will age very beautifully, which is just ideal for high quality, long lasting boots. Faux leather is cheaper and easier to take care of initially, but lacks the comfort, breathability, and the elegance of real leather. For some extra warmth, you could also wear a nice pair of woolen socks underneath of your boots. You could even have them peeking out at the top like a little bit, and that will add some femininity. But either way, wearing your socks inside of your boots will just add another layer of warmth and will keep you nice and toasty. If you don't own a pair of knee-high or over-the-knee boots, don't worry, you can also just wear a pair of ankle boots with a thick pair of tights. That's basically what I do. I don't have a pair of high boots, I just have ankle boots and I wear them with a thick pair of tights and I'm totally fine. What I would do though is just wear something nice and long and woolen over the top. So I personally like wearing my ankle boots with a lily silk skirt made from merino wool. It's a midi length skirt and because it's made from wool, it just keeps me nice and toasty. So if you don't have a pair of high boots, don't worry, just wear like a thick pair of tights over the top and also just something long and woolly preferably. If you want to protect yourself from the cold that kind of rises up from the ground, you could get some insoles for your shoes. You could get fleece insoles or insoles made from sheepskin, and that way you just add another barrier to protect yourself from the cold. Alright, so the next point is layering your dresses with thermal tops. A great way to wear your lighter summer dresses in the winter time is to layer a thermal top underneath. This creates a warm base layer while still allowing you to wear your favorite dresses without freezing. That way you just get the most out of your wardrobe, and I think this is really interesting for capsule wardrobe lovers. If you're wearing a shirt dress, you could try to layer a merino wool turtleneck underneath. I've seen people doing that and it just looks really elegant and really chic. I haven't tried it myself, but I think this could be a really nice way of just wearing summer dresses with an extra layer of warmth underneath. The next point is layering your dresses with skirts. This is something I recently started thinking about and it might be a bit unconventional, but hear me out. Why not just wear your skirts layered over your dresses? This will not only add some extra warmth, but similar to wearing a jumper over your dress, which kind of makes your dress look like a skirt, this is kind of the other way around. Now you wear a skirt over your dress and your dress kind of looks like a top. So again, you get the most out of your wardrobe by recycling your dresses and transforming them actually into a different kind of clothing item. I personally prefer when the skirt is longer than the dress. I just think it looks more elegant and more balanced, but you could also have your dress peeking out underneath of the skirt for a more fashion-forward look. Either way, I think this is a great way to add variety to your wardrobe and just get the most out of it. Before getting into fabrics and colours and patterns, I have one last tip or point to talk about, and that is layering your dresses with scarves. In the colder months, a large and cozy scarf can add an instant soft vibe to your outfit. For example, pair a checked scarf with a simple knitted dress or skirt to add some more texture and warmth to your look. This will also add visual interest and it will give your outfit a more layered look. As I mentioned earlier, you could also belt your scarf for a more fashionable look and you can just show off your waist that way. Alrighty, so now let's quickly talk about some materials that are winter appropriate and that will keep you warm in the cooler months. The first material is probably the most obvious, but just go for a wool. It could be merino wool, it could be cashmere or mohair or alpaca. There are just different variations out there. Cashmere is one of my favorites because compared to the other woolen types, it's really soft on your skin, but I do also like a good merino woolen jumper. It's a great layering piece. Oftentimes merino woolen items are quite thin, but you can also get quite chunky knits made from merino wool, but I personally like a thin merino wool. Please, if you can afford it and you're not like hypersensitive to woolen things being itchy, because most woolen items can be just a little itchy on your skin. So if you don't fall in these two categories, go for natural materials. Most affordable jumpers are either made with really scratchy wool that you don't want to have in your wardrobe, or they're made from kind of synthetic materials. And synthetic materials would just make you sweat so much, and I hate that. When I wear a jumper that's made from basically plastic, like polyester jumper or something like that. I just feel so uncomfortable because number one, it makes me sweat a lot, and number two, the sweat can't go anywhere because the plastic kind of keeps it on your body. I know woolen items can be really expensive, especially when they're made from cashmere, but they are definitely worth the investment and you will have them for many years. All of my woolen jumpers I've had for so many years and I'm still happy with them. They still look really good and are in good shape. So it is definitely a nice piece to invest into, or just dresses or skirts or whatever, just woolen items in general. Next on the material list, we have tweed and boucle. I think these are like autumn winter staple fabrics to have in your wardrobe. They are really classic. You can get like a tweed blazer or a tweed skirt, or you could get a matching set. That could look really nice and will keep you warm. Or you could get yourself a nice like cropped boucle jacket, something that has this Chanel vibe. Boucle fabric is oftentimes a mix of different fibers. Most of the time you have wool in there, you have maybe a little bit of silk in there or cotton, and sometimes you do have a little bit of synthetic materials also in there if you have like a little bit of glitter or something like that. But a boucle fabric is a nice material to have in winter. It is also a little thicker. It oftentimes has wool, as I said, so it will keep you nice and warm, and it's just a statement piece. It's a really nice classic piece to have in your wardrobe. So yes, go for tweed or boucle in winter. Next on the list is a leather or a suede leather. These will also keep you nice and toasty in the winter time. You could maybe go for a midi skirt made from leather, or a long skirt made from leather, or maybe a jacket made from suede leather, or a coat made from suede leather. There's just a lot of options. I don't own clothing items made from leather just because it's not quite my style. But obviously I do have shoes and bags made from leather and I love them. Leather is a great material. So yes, if you want to get yourself something made from leather or suede leather. And last on the list is thick cotton fabrics. For example, you could go for a thick denim, or you could go for a corduroy fabric, or what is especially nice around Christmas is a velvet fabric. Velvet is a great fabric for occasion wear. So if you have a Christmas party or a New Year's party, these would be occasions where a velvet dress or skirt would be really appropriate and would also keep you warm. Alrighty, next let's talk about colours. Winter is a great time to go for darker tones in your skirts and dresses. For example, like an emerald green, like a dark green, a burgundy, a navy, a charcoal, or just a plain black if you want to. These colours feel really seasonal appropriate and pair very nicely with this rich and moody atmosphere that winter has. However, you can obviously wear something lighter coloured in the winter time. I would probably go for something soft coloured, not like a really crispy white, but more of an off-white. But that's just me. If you want to have like a white, then go for it. Especially when there's snow outside, a white outfit can just look really exquisite, luxurious and feminine. And lastly, let's talk about some patterns that you could wear during the colder months. The first one's being a plaid or a tartan. These patterns are just really classic, really timeless. They have this British classiness to them, and I personally really love them. So that could be a great option for a dress or a skirt or a blazer. You will just look really put together with these patterns. The next pattern you could add to your wardrobe is just a lovely houndstooth. I personally think a houndstooth is kind of underrated. You see a lot of plaid and tartan materials in the autumn winter time, but I don't know, I think a houndstooth is kind of underrepresented in comparison, but it is a really lovely pattern to have in your winter wardrobe, especially because it adds a lot of contrast. A really classic houndstooth color combination would be just a white or an off-white with a black. But if that's too much contrast for you, you could just go for a more tonal houndstooth pattern, maybe a white with a beige or something like that. That could also look absolutely lovely. So yes, I love a good houndstooth and I think it adds so much to one's wardrobe. So yeah, that would be a great winter pattern as well. If you like floral patterns, I would probably not go too colourful. I would probably stick to more of a dark floral pattern and probably like bigger florals instead of having these like little tiny ones. But I mean, it's kind of up to you. I just think the darker, bigger florals are more fitting for the cooler months. But if you have a different opinion, that's totally fine. And the last pattern I want to mention is a stripe. I personally really love stripes. I mean, I'm literally wearing stripes right now, so I have a lot of stripy items in my wardrobe. It's probably the pattern I have the most of. I just think it is a great staple to have. It adds visual interest, but it's not too much. And I just think it pairs very well with a lot of clothing items. Again, it's such a classic pattern that it's kind of appropriate for every season, let's be honest. You can always go for something striped. And I think every elegant wardrobe should have at least one stripy item. You don't have to go full contrast on your stripe if that's not your cup of tea. You could have something that's a bit more similar in color. This is probably the most contrast you can get, but there are versions where the colors aren't too different from one another and it's a bit more subtle. So yeah, these were some of the patterns that I think are really appropriate for this time of year. But obviously you don't have to wear pattern. You could just wear something neutral colored and be good to go. So these were all of my tips and tricks. I think the most important thing about wearing your skirts and dresses throughout the year is just layering and choosing the right accessories. For example, you could wear a lovely maxi dress in the summertime and just pair it with a pair of sandals. And then for the winter, you just throw a jumper over the top, a pair of boots and a coat, and you're good to go. So basically, by changing out your accessories and your outerwear, you can make the same dress or skirt work for all of the seasons. Alright guys, so that was my video. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you found it helpful in any kind of way. If you have some ideas or tips of your own how to wear skirts and dresses in the colder months, it would be lovely if you shared them down below in the comments section, but of course you don't have to if you don't want to. If you want to continue watching some more of my content, I'm going to leave a video linked up on the screen for you, just in case you haven't had enough of me yet. And yeah, I think I've done enough talking in this video, so thank you again for watching and we will hopefully see each other in my next video. Bye bye!